We're just sinners, I guess.
We're just lucky, I guess.
All right, I show about 7:24 or 6:24. Yeah, 6:24. We have one, so I'll call the meeting to order. We have one change. We're going to add the 2026 contract law under new business. With that change, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Make motion for the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Rick, second by Austin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, I hereby turn it over to Todd. from
Okay, well,
District.
great. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Todd Case. I'm the director of the First Planning District in Watertown. Been with the district for about 33 years. If there's anybody to blame for your zoning regulations, I wrote them in 1996 and I wrote them again in 2003. And then that was the last major rewrite to your rules that I showed in our records here. And I'm guessing you probably have done some minor amendments over the years, and you've done some rezonings of property and the like. And I know that you've done some annexations. I think we did help out with some annexation work back in 2023, but annexations and subdivisions. And so for those of you that don't know the planning district, we're not government, but we're creatures of government. We were created by Governor Farrar back in 1971. And so they created the boundaries and there's 6 of us across the state. And then the 11 counties and all the municipalities in our northeast area, we run from Sisseton to Flandreau over to Howard and back up to Clark. Those are our 11 counties up here. And basically, we were created back in 71, and our purpose is still the same. We provide technical services to the membership, and we have some expertise in planning and zoning and grant writing and grant administration and geographic information systems. And we're a bank, and we loan money out to small businesses, and there's a lot of different things that we do. And what I've primarily focused on most of my career is helping towns and counties in our area with developing zoning regulations and comprehensive land use plans and subdivision regulations, and then being there to answer questions when people want to say, well, can we build it here and why or why not, and the like and those types of things. And so like I said, was very involved back in the day, different mayors, different finance officers over the years. And we had actually, for a couple of years, been talking about taking this project on. I just had about 10 others ahead of you in line, and we finally got a break in the action so we can jump onto Lake Preston. And I think after reading your 2003 regulations that I looked at, it's not bad, but there's been a lot of changes in state law. There's been changes due to case law. The courts have steered us in directions on some things we can do and we can't do, just like the way we used to do them. And I'll start by saying I'm not an attorney. I've just had a hand in writing most of the state law for the last 25 years, and have been a defendant and deposed, but have a very good working relationship with most of the state attorneys and city attorneys in the area. Your guys' city attorney now is So yeah, I've worked with Todd for many, many years. We recently worked on Arlington zoning regulations, which we just did last year. And Luke Muller in our office worked with Todd on DeSmith's rules that were done a couple of years ago too. So very good working relationship with Todd, and he generally trusts us when the direction and guidance that we provide. And so basically what we plan on doing here over the next several months is to meet with you to talk about your comprehensive land use plan. The comprehensive land use plan is the guide for development. Your last one was in 1996. It hasn't been updated since then. State law says that if you want to have enforceable zoning regulations, you need to have a comprehensive land use plan. And case law says it should be fairly current. Well, the way we approach the comprehensive land use plan is what we want to do is we want to take a look at your demographics. Have you been growing? Have you been shrinking? We talk about, We don't get in deep into your water and sewer needs and things like that, but we want to know, where do you have water, where do you have sewer, where do we have development constraints, where do we flood, where is it low? We take a look at the existing land use, how the city is currently laid out, and then we talk about, what do we do about redevelopment of old parts of town, and where do we want to focus new development? And you guys have been doing a really good job. I mean, you guys are growing, and you guys are investing in yourself, and you're doing all the smart things that small communities need to be doing to stay vibrant and alive. But we'll talk about that. And you can either spend a lot of time on the front end talking about the plan and the process. In my opinion, what we need to do is focus on the plan as it supports your zoning regulations. And so I have found in my 30-odd years of experience that sometimes it's better to talk about, what is it that you want to regulate? What is it that you want to allow for zoning? What do you want to build? Where do you want to build it? And from those conversations, we dovetail a land use plan on the back end to support what your vision is by how you want to regulate things moving forward. It saves us some time, and and as we're talking through zoning regulations, we'll be having sidebar conversations about planning and the components, right? So,
I have a question.
yes, ma'am.
So is this something in other communities? Does the development board take part as far as
So-
what the vision of growth is?
So that's a very good question, and that's going to be towards the end of my.
Okay, sorry.
If you give me just a minute, I'll come
Yeah,
back to that.
no
But
problem.
I'm going to address that. That's one component that we're going to be working on. We're working on your land use plan because that's woefully out of date, and we just need to update it. And it's not really heavy. We come up with some general land use planning policies to guide growth, and then we take a look at your existing land use, and we project out a future land use map, and then that provides hey, where are we going to grow residentially? This is the area we're steering. Where are we going to go industrially, commercially, what have you? Then we're going to spend most of our time talking about zoning and the zoning regulations. And like I said, in '96, we did the original ordinance. In 2003, we updated the text in the zoning map. And we got a couple ways of looking at it. I'm going to need the city to provide me with all of the ordinance amendments since 2003, rezonings and any other textual changes, so I know what I'm operating with. And then what I end up doing is I take that existing ordinance and your changes, and I call it the template. The template that you're using right now is probably changed 5 or 6 times since 2003, the last time this was done, because it's always evolving. We're always seeing different things in different towns and how they're managing or directing things. And then what we lots of times want to do is we take what those other towns are doing, we lay what you guys are doing, and then I ask you, basically a lot of it's going to be, well, what do you want to keep? What do you want to throw? What do you want to add? And we kind of go through that template with your stuff currently, and you'll tell me what you like, what you don't like, what could be done better, what we're granting variances on, or whatever. I mean, if we're variancing the same thing over and over 3-4 times a year, it's time to change that rule, because that rule really has no teeth anymore. You keep lowering the bar. Or if you're going to lower the bar, under what circumstances will you lower the bar? And the standard can still be this, but if you can meet X, Y, and Z, we'll do this. And I think that helps expedite development as well, because that's the one thing I can tell you. When I was much younger than I am now, I was probably a little bit more overzealous on, we got to make sure we control and growth and manage it really tight, more of under a thumb. And then I've completely done a 180 over my career, that we want to be accommodating for development. We want to guide development. We don't want to put it under our thumb. We want to offer opportunity for people. We want to do it in a fashion that is good for the collective of the community, but still protect things that need to be protected at the same time. So that's kind of where my philosophy is. And as we talk through things, I'm just going to play both sides of it. I'll be a devil's advocate on both sides when we talk about controversial development issues, which every community has, right? And so I'm not sure what you've done over the last 20 years, but did you guys adopt cannabis regulations back in the day? Okay, so I want to make sure I have those. I know I was reading in the newspaper, something about the other day, you guys were talking about shipping containers. You don't have any rules on shipping containers. And I can tell you right now, your existing rules don't allow them in town. So if you want to allow them in town, you need to talk about that. Under what circumstances? Can they be permanent? Are they temporary? What have you? So we'll talk about that. That's been a very popular topic in the last year. You guys have-
Garden sheds.
Pardon?
Garden sheds are always a.
Now, accessory uses is what we call a lot of those things, you know?
Buildings.
Accessory uses, moved in buildings, sidewall heights, can they be 10? Can they be, you know, all those things are the big conversation now. Shop houses. Have you adopted any rules that allow for shop houses? Your current regulations don't allow for shop houses, just so you understand that. If you want to allow shop houses, you're gonna have to change the ordinance. Guys, let chickens anywhere in town? Did you change that in your municipal code, or did you change that in your zoning ordinance?
Probably every.
So, which means they're not allowed because your zoning ordinance doesn't allow them, and whatever the most restrictive you have to follow. So we're gonna want to incorporate those chicken rules into your zoning rules. And again, not a big deal. No one's called you on it, but it's just those little things. It's just,
Good to be aware of.
yeah, exactly. And campgrounds. Do you have much regulations for campgrounds? But do you have campgrounds? Do we need to have campground regulations? Under what circumstances will we allow campgrounds in and on the edge of town? Something, you know, I know the GEVO thing has kind of gone away for a while, but that was something that was really driving some ideas, but you never know. You want to be prepared for something like that down the road. Did you I didn't ask Luke in the office, but did you guys update your floodplain regulations? Did Luke help you with that this last time around, the last year or two? Yeah, FEMA came out and said that there was new floodplain maps. Did you guys adopt those?
Oh, I think we did.
I think Luke might have helped
We
you.
did.
Okay, so I'll have to ask him about that. I didn't ask him yet. I'll ask Luke. You know, yes, steel siding, sidewall heights. I noticed that in your rules, you don't have anything about adult uses. Somebody wants to open up a free expression thing. We should probably have some rules in that on how you would deal with that. Just saying, no, you can't do it is not an answer that you're gonna sustain a good legal argument on when you go to court if you turn somebody down automatically. And so what we do is we've got kind of it's the tricky end around to still protect cultural norms if that's what you want to do. Home occupations is something that's been evolving a lot, especially since COVID. You know, how you handle home occupations inside the home. What if I have a detached garage and I want to do a home occupation out of a detached garage? Do we have different standards for that? Because generally those are more intensive uses, like, you know, automotive repair, cabinet making, things that maybe have more of an intrusive effect on the next door neighbors, where maybe you want to have more of an, we don't have a problem with you working as long as 8 to 5 or 8 to 7. We don't want you working on, you know, race car engines at 10 o'clock at night. I don't know. I mean, these are just the things that you hear. And maybe you don't give a damn. Let people be what they want to do. I mean, and I'm completely fine with that as well. All I'm going to do is kind of give you what has been the bad, worst experiences of municipalities of what happens. And then I'll try to also say, well, this is what they did, and this is what they found worked for them. Every community is different. I don't want it to be a cookie cutter approach to any of this, but some of the stuff is 80% of it's going to be the same no matter where you go. What we can do now is how do we go about going through this process? And there's a couple different ways we can approach it. I can come before your regular set scheduled city council meeting every month, and I'm going to ask for an hour and a half of your time before you get into city business. That makes for long nights for you guys. Do you have a separate planning commission, or is the city council the planning commission?
So we have the zoning board, David, he's the president, Dell is the vice,
Yep.
and then there's Lauren and James.
Some of these guys got familiar faces. It's been a while. Okay, so state law says the planning commission has to make a recommendation to the city council on all ordinance amendments, new comp plans, new zoning regulations, what have you. So there's a couple ways. We can either have a joint meetings where the planning commission and the city council meet together in the same room, so we're hearing the same song once. and we can talk our way through that where everybody has a conversation. We can do that as part of your regular meeting. We could have a separate meeting. And if we meet just monthly, I can tell you this is about an 8-meeting process, which gets us done about Labor Day of next year. Because if we meet monthly, plus the publication requirements, the adoption process, it's about 9 months long to get that accomplished. If we wanted to do something where both the planning commission and city council got together, or a couple city council members wants to meet with the planning commission, we can maybe meet every 3 weeks for a couple hours. Then I would guess we would be done June-ish. We could probably do something like that, at which time, if we want to, not only just have the planning commission and the city council, because those are the required bodies that have to act. If you want your development corp to attend those meetings, be part of the conversations, I mean, they're public meetings. And so, and how it normally will work is a couple weeks before our meeting, I will send you the sections of the prescribed ordinance that I want to talk about with you. And your job is to make sure you read it ahead of time, and then I'll address any questions that you might have to start with. And then what I will do is I will gloss over the highlights. So like our first meeting, we're going to talk about definitions. We'll easily spend an hour talking about definitions, even because there's going to be some things in there that just maybe don't make any sense to you at all. You never heard that term. I'm going to explain why it's in there. And then you're going to say, I read this one, I disagree with that. Or that makes sense. And so, because your definition sections right now is about 8-9 pages. My standard definition section is about 30 pages of just definitions. And why is that? Because Todd's going to appreciate knowing what the word is means when he goes into court, right? And so that's why we have it. And because if there's a use in here, if there's something that's referencing, and we need to know what it means. So to either say yes or no, to either defend why we said yes or defend why we say no to something, it helps us. So we'll probably spend a solid hour just talking about that. Because realistically, when I'm looking at your ordinance, the 2 sections that jump out at me right away is definitions. It's lacking. Your administrative section, not bad, but there's been changes to state law that we need to incorporate, and then we just want to talk through that process. And we'll probably spend a solid hour and a half just talking about building permits, conditional use permits. How do you issue a variance? We're going to talk about things called special permitted uses, which you don't have in your rules, and different things, tools that can help expedite decision making, and or ability to say no if you need to say no. But that administrative piece is where we go to court. The judge isn't going to care whether you allow shop houses in an R1 zone or not. The judge is going to want to know, when you issued or denied the permit for the shop house, did you follow the process in the issuance of the permit? Did you afford complete due process to that individual? Did you make sure that the adjoining property owners were noticed and aware that things were happening, if that's what you needed to do? That's where you're going to get tripped up if you go to court. It's not an if, it's when. If you haven't, you're lucky, but you will at some point in time. So also, as we go through these, it's just good that the planning commission and the city council members are understanding, and it's an education process, so you understand what your rules are. Because again, this board's going to change in 2 years, it'll change again in 4 years, it'll change in 6 years. I mean, it always is. But as long as you've got some people with a little bit of history in the back, understanding why the city did this, what the hell are they smoking 20 years ago when they adopted that rule, right? We want to make sure that there's some continuity there. But we'll spend some time on that. Our third meeting would be just talking about zoning districts, the R1, the R2, the C1. And if we're lucky, we can get that done in 2 hours. Sometimes it might take us a little bit longer. I'm a firm believer. One thing I remember for all the years of college was that a college professor says, yeah, your brain can only stand as much as your ass. And what he meant by that is that when your butt's tired, you're not listening anymore. And I can talk about this stuff for days. My wife will just turn me out. But after about an hour and a half or so, everybody starts to get doughy-eyed, and I just know we're not making any progress at that point. So we'll take that into consideration. But we'll spend some time just on the districts. What are you allowing? What do you want to allow? Do you want to change some conditional uses to permitted uses? Do you want to make some permitted uses conditional uses? Do you want to say, we're okay this use if it does X, Y, and Z? Well, then we don't have to go through a hearing. We don't have to spend the money. We say, we're okay that if somebody wants to have a extended home occupation in their detached garage, as long as they do X, Y, and Z, and the neighbors sign off on it, we don't need to have a meeting. And because anything that we can do to reduce that amount of workload, that's good. Then we'll have a meeting on what we call supplemental regulations. That's everything. Those are the fun topics. That's nudie bars, that's fences, that's accessory buildings, that's trailer houses, that's shop houses, that's cannabis facilities. I mean, all the little things that are just specific. And that hopefully we can get that done in a 1.5 to 2 hour session. So we're already like 6-7 meetings into this thing. And if we're meeting every 3 weeks, that gets us till about May. And then that's hoping that we don't have snowstorms and things like that in there, right? Then what we do is then we're going to have a public hearing with the planning commission and the city council, and the public's invited to that meeting. And we take everything in. Oh, also have to have a meeting on the comp plan and subdivision ordinances in there as well. And then what we end up doing is a planning commission, city council, we have a public hearing on all the ordinances. Planning commission makes a recommendation. Thank you for your work. You can now host to the city council. We have first reading of the ordinances. Next month, we have the second reading of the ordinances. We publish a notice of adoption in the paper, and 30 days after that, 20 days after that, it's all approved. So just the adoption process by statute, the fastest we can get it done is about 42 days. The average is about 70. So that kind of gives you an idea. So like I said, we've got the options to me just coming here and talking at everybody for an hour and a half at part of your regular meeting. We could have another meeting, another night of, every 3 weeks. Maybe it's a Monday night or whatever. Every 3 weeks we get together, or if people want to, meet at 5 o'clock. I'm wide open to do whatever. So that's kind of the spiel and the general process. Comment on that before I start my
So
next
I
thing.
think I talked to you and I talked to Donna about like maybe we can choose 2 people from the council and like 2 or 3 from the zoning. They can get together.
We can still do that if you want to take 3 and 3 or whatever. I
I
mean,
think it would be good if, like, the zoning, like you say, whoever, if you're talking 2 or 3, or all the zoning gets together
mhm.
as separate meetings, not to make the city council meeting longer, but open to any city council members that want to sit in on it.
Yep.
Would be perfectly okay.
I think
And
if we take that approach, or if we take a 3 and 3 or a subcommittee approach, the big thing is probably at least every 2 months, I'm reporting back to the city council what we're
Yeah.
doing.
that'd be fine.
So I could see us, working with that group. I can work with the finance officer to say, when's our kickoff meeting? And from that kickoff meeting, then as a group, we'll decide when the next meeting is gonna be.
Right.
And that we just say, what's everybody's schedule look like on these dates? Okay, yep, that's what we'll do. And then like maybe every couple months, I'll just swing back and say, this is where we're at, this is our progress, this is what we're doing. The questions on anything, because I'm still gonna, while we're talking about it at this committee, planning zoning board, we're gonna be sending it to you guys as well. So if you have questions or comments and you can't make it or you want to attend, at any point in time, you can send me a question. Todd, what the heck does this mean on page 37? That doesn't make sense to me. I'd be more than glad to have a conversation on the sideline about that, okay? Other questions or comments just on process? What day of the week does the planning and zoning board usually meet? You just have to call,
Early before the city council.
is what you normally would.
Yeah,
So you guys would be open to meeting like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon if the meeting's at 6 or 5 o'clock for an hour and a half before this meeting, or would you rather do it on a different night of the week?
Like, are most of you available around 5 PM? Type thing.
Well, even if we got together at 5:30 and we work till 7, and then if you have to be part of the plan of this, then I can step away and we can maybe shoot for 5:30. Now, when's your next, I gotta double check my schedule. Your next meeting is always the first Monday of the
So
month?
we do change it due to bills.
Okay, well,
I
let
think
me,
January 12th.
let me pull up my life here. My wife and my secretary basically dictate everywhere I go. So next month, the first Monday in January is the 5th, but you think you guys will meet the 12th?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, well, let's shoot for the 12th at 5:30. And I would have we have a kickoff meeting. I will get at least the first 2 sections of the ordinance out to you before Christmas.
Okay.
And then that way, everybody will have an opportunity to read through that stuff, and then I'll just spoon feed you as we go, because I don't want to give you the template as it's written with your stuff in it is probably about 200 pages that we're going to try to whittle down to about 120. And you're currently about 70 pages in your book right now. The other thing, so the only thing would be is I will start with that, whether I have your information yet or not on your existing code changes since 2003, I will just move forward with what I got. That's why the definitions and the administration is going to change, is going to be completely different than what you've got right now. So it doesn't matter to me what you've done. Once we start talking about the zoning districts and what you've allowed for changes in use, that's the most important to me.
Okay.
So we don't have to drop everything just to help me out right now, but I'll just move forward as if on those 2 sections. I know you guys got your regular meeting starting here shortly, so I want to just quickly ask you, what are the pressing topics that you feel your current rules don't address, or you think that we need to change? Has anybody got anything off the top of their head that is problematic right now? I mean, I saw the questions on storage containers.
One of the things was man camps and some of this temporary housing, or when the
Mhm.
Chivo was to come into
Sure.
town.
Well, I definitely think we will talk about campgrounds. I mean, that will be something that we would want to talk about, because that would be one way of accommodating that. You know, if we're talking about temporary man camps, there's some good examples. There hasn't been a lot of good examples in this state regarding that sort of a thing, because we just haven't had a big push of any large scale projects. Probably the last one was Otter Tail back in the day when that was a 6-year construction project back in the day. That was about 10 years before my time as far as being involved with this stuff. But we can have conversations about that. What it is that you think you might still want to be prepared in the event something does happen. I think it's probably important to have, whether you incorporate it in your ordinance today, you have or you say we just want to have it ready, so if something happens, we can turn around and adopt it and add it at a later date. Maybe that's always something you can talk about. What else? Are you guys granting a lot of side yard variances or rear yard variances or front yard variances? Or that's my who issues the variances? Is it the city council or is it the zoning board?
Well, it goes from the city zoning to the council, and I sign off on them. It goes through the.
So if I needed to go, if I'm coming to get a building permit and say the side yard's 7 feet and I want to build it 5 feet, you publish a notice. Who do I present my request to? The zoning board?
It goes to the zoning board, and then
You make
like
a
a
reg.
deal like that, then it will go to the city council to permit it.
Acting as the board of adjustment.
Exactly.
So the city council is ultimately the board of adjustment.
Yes.
You make a recommendation.
Yes. Yep.
Got it. Is that working fine? You guys like that process?
I do.
It gets vetted, but it's a non-binding. That's the other thing. Well, your recommendation is non-binding on the
Right.
board, right? Okay.
Well, in the meantime, what do we do about the storage containers that are in town?
Well, I can tell you right now, they're illegal. See, are they sitting by themselves on a vacant lot, or are they on somebody else's house where they've got like a garage and they're using it as a storage building, or how's it being used?
I'm
Set
unaware.
on the own person's property.
Is this house there too? Is this house with the shipping container there, or is it
He's
just,
got a big garage.
I've got one of them. It is sitting on my commercial property.
Okay, so there's a little bit difference there, how, it depends on how you wanna look at it. Your regulations say that you can have accessory uses, right? And accessory use is supplemental to the primary use. So if I have a lot where I have a house, the house is the principal use. And then I can have, in your ordinance, it says customarily incidental accessory uses. Well, what does customarily incidental mean? It means that if I was to drive by 10 houses, I would probably see something on 6 of the lots that is generally the same. A gazebo, a swimming pool, a detached garage, a Menards shed. If I drive by 10 houses, would I see 2 or 3 shipping containers with China painted on the side of them? More than likely not. And so that determination would be at the board is a shipping container in a residential zone, a accessory use is customarily incidental. Most places would say no, most courts would probably say no, right? Now, in a commercial or an industrial zone, again, the use of a shipping container, is it customarily incidental? Well, I could tell you that if I'm in an industrial zone in some places, there's very common to see, maybe not in this town, but you see them. You drive by Runnings in Watertown and there's a whole line of them, there used to be, or Kmart or Walmart. The shipping containers, I would say, are probably more customarily incidental to highway commercial and industrial zones. Main Street commercial zoning, maybe not so much, but that's the conversation that you have to have about them. If you want to, my recommendation would be right now, if there's people making complaints, they could ask for what's called a mandamus action, which means they would go to court and tell you as the city to enforce your zoning regulations because they're not allowed. And then you would have to go and present it to the court, say what, the court would have to determine it. The other thing is, it's being winter, you could say, we're just gonna take a timeout. We're not gonna deal with it unless somebody says we have to deal with it, and let's have a conversation on how we want to regulate, if we want to regulate it at all. So short answer is you can either jump in and try to do something right now. We could be going to court inside of 60 days. Or you turn around and say, let's talk our way through and what the policy could or should be. And I leave that completely up to you and your legal counsel on, what he wants to do.
But in the meantime, I'm sitting here where there is no ordinance at all, on my commercial lot. It is a good looking container, it matches my building.
Are you on Main Street or are you on the highway?
I'm right at the very end of Main Street there. Been there for 45 years.
So,
And it's out back, it's not sitting,
I guess where I'm at with it right now,
Looking container.
right now, what I'm saying is that the ordinance regarding shipping containers in residential zones, I think it's a hell no right now if you were to read it. If somebody wanted to make the argument that a shipping container, first of all, I would say you need to get a building permit. So did you apply for a building permit?
No, I have not yet.
So you would need to apply for a building permit, at which time the finance officer, the zoning administrator, if I was that person, rather than me making the determination that that is customarily incidental, I would punt that to the zoning board. And then the zoning board and the city council would have to make the determination of whether or not that was customarily incidental in a commercial zone. And I could argue that one both ways. That one, a commercial or an industrial zone, I think it's a hell of a lot easier to say that it could be. But then becomes a community standard whether or not we want to make sure that they do that. And again, I'm not here to push them one way or the other.
We have these cargo containers are a fairly new thing.
Yes.
How would that differ from people who have used old van bodies, come off a van truck and they got them in their van?
Technically, your ordinance doesn't allow that either. Technically, it does not allow it. I mean, and so
There again, I got one of them. I've had it for 45 years.
yeah, and I'm sure I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong, and I'm not saying you're doing anything right. I'm just saying that if you were to read the letter of the law, I think the city could make the interpretation that taking an old school bus and using it for storage, or taking the trailer off of a semi-trailer and using that for storage, or using a shipping container for storage, are not customarily incidental, especially in the residential zone, but maybe not even in the commercial zones. But if they haven't been asked to make that determination, you're all here in La La Land at this point. And so it would take the city coming to you saying, you need to get apply for a building permit because that's a structure, it's occupying a piece of dirt. Once you make that application for the building permit, the city can start their process, at which time that's when the clock starts to tick. And then the city may decide, you know what, we're okay with you under these reasons. We're okay if it's a shipping container that's not rusted up and doesn't have a bunch of painting or, graffiti on it, and the neighbors are okay with it, or half the neighbors are okay. I mean, you can put whatever conditions or settings to it, then you're fine with it in that commercial zone. Or if you want to allow it in the residential zone, under what circumstances, but that's a conversation that's going to happen over the next 6 months.
So is there any type of grandfather clause, like?
No, it's not grandfathered because these are the rules since 1996, and they don't allow in 1996.
So this is over, like you said, over 40 years old.
If the thing was there prior to 1996, which is getting darn close to 40 years old,
Right.
then it's grandfathered.
Yeah.
But it isn't in the same location.
Well, or if I added on to it, or if I moved it, again, but what would have to do is somebody would have to sign an affidavit saying that it wasn't there in 1983,
Right.
or whatever. And I can tell you, yes, the city had some zoning regulations prior to 1996. I sure as hell wouldn't have wanted to go to court on it because there was no basis for them. They had no comprehensive land use plan. So what I'm saying is that I think I would just as soon, if I'm advising you, to let calmer heads prevail. Let's talk our way through the process to see maybe there's no reason that his use can't continue. But what we want to make damn well sure, he needs to get a building permit. And he needs to at least start that process. And you can turn around and say, we're not going to act on this building permit until next May, after the snow leaves, hopefully, right? But at least it's in the hopper. Anybody else wants to do it, I would probably pass a resolution or a moratorium on any more shipping containers being brought into town until we finish this. And that's something that, we could talk to Todd about if that makes sense. If there's a couple things that are happening that you don't want to see happen, and people just start, those temporary things are a lot easier. Somebody moving something in. Somebody's not going to, come in and build a shop house without a building permit. They're going to have to get a building permit. You're going to say you can't build a shop house right now because even though if we want to, we can't allow it to happen because the rules don't allow for it. Is that a possible solution?
And then the one other thing I did talk to all of the adjoining landlords, and none of them had a problem.
And that's a lot of what goes on, I think, especially in small towns, that what I would say is what we've been using, what I call small town logic at the state level to get some changes to allow us to have what we call special permitted uses, which would allow us to do things as long as the neighborhood's okay with it. And if one person, but if 1 out of 5 neighbors just, hey, I never liked you in high school, and I know what to do today. Right? If that happens, I can still appeal that to the board, and then the board can use their common sense to say that most of the day, we're not going to make everybody happy all the time, but as long as something's not egregious and it generally fits, if he does X, Y, and Z.
Here's a scenario that was, a number of years ago now, 10 maybe, with Faye.
I don't know when it was.
It was less than 10.
Less than 10.
I was on council.
Okay, but anyway, somebody wanted to move in one.
Yeah.
And the neighbor was really nitpicky and said no. So then we said no. So then she went and bought an old enclosed trailer. Like it was not heavy axles, it was designed for
Yep.
maybe snowmobiles or
Yep.
something.
Yeah.
So that's parked there in place of it.
Park that
which-
there as personal property and then where it's a little bit different. Yeah,
So she got her storage, but I think a container probably
would have been
would have
better.
been a little more attractive and stuff in the
so-
long run.
And that's the big thing, we're gonna try to, within the here, in our definitions, we're gonna probably try to show pictures of what we mean that's okay and things that are definitely no, and what do we mean by steel siding? I mean, all those kinds of things, we wanna show as many pictures so people can say, oh, okay, I get it. We're okay with that, but we're not okay with that.
Take the ambiguity out of all
We
this.
want to try to remove as much, what I like to call is, we want to take your discretion away. Because when you guys utilize discretion, you become defendants really quick. And so that's,
Cause that's like in here and the only steel roofing out there. I suppose more residential, cause there's a lot of it in commercial. but-
but we're seeing more, I mean, steel roofing is, the only downside to steel roofing is if you gotta cut up there and get a hole cut if there's a fire. That's to me the only downside to steel roofing.
But they have only standing rib only.
Yeah, most towns don't allow corrugated, what I call Quonset siding
Yep.
for steel roofing, right? But,
But a lot of roofs up there would look a lot nicer if they had barn steel on them.
yeah,
than-
yeah, I mean,
True enough.
I think
Rather stuff
vertical steel siding is fine for roof. I think in many places, it doesn't have to be ribbed or anything like that, so, and then that's the other, we'll have conversations on.
This is a discussion that needs to
Yeah,
happen.
those are the things that I need to know where you guys are at, on steel siding. I mean, if I put up, a batten type of batten board up, which has got, some steel, some, there's different ways that things that still look nice. Now, if I just want to come up and, we just have to have those, we don't need to have a conversation now, but that's one of the things, and we'll be spending some time. What about your fee structure? When was the last time you updated your fees, building permit fees?
In the last couple of years, because it was,
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
We're gonna wanna talk about that. Wanna make sure that you're charging enough to cover your costs.
Well, before it was $10, but then
Oh, my lord.
supposedly everybody else was that signed
I
off
think
on it was
they're
supposed to be
$50
getting $10.
Oh, no,
If
you
that
gotta,
was
you know,
for-
I'll quit my little quick philosophy. Never should a taxpayer have to pay for the needs of an individual. And so if I need to get a building permit and the cost of getting that building permit is $100 worth of city time, I should pay the $100. Your taxes, everybody else's taxes shouldn't be going to pay for that because I need something specifically.
Mhm.
So that's my philosophy. We'll talk about what you charge for a variance, what you charge for, that'll also be done. We'll talk about a lot of conversation about that. Anything else that's just like where you think it's been problematic?
One of my biggest things is that our map is from 1996.
Oh, we're gonna update maps, yeah.
And a lot of these places that people say they're commercial aren't.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
guessing
find
some
out.
people are saying that, oh, I mean tax commercial. Well, I don't care if it's tax. If it's not zone, it doesn't matter. Because taxing and zoning aren't the same thing. We will update a zoning map. We will, who's your guys's, I should know this off the top of my head, but if we can get some updated engineering maps of where I don't care, where the water and sewer lines are at.
Banner.
Oh, hey guys, I didn't see you back there. Do you guys have updated current water and sewer distribution maps, just general location maps? If there's an 8-inch line in this street or a 6-inch line or, where
Yeah.
Can we get a shape file of that? Because then we just overlay that with our land use
Yeah.
maps. That way then when we're doing projections as far as where, and then we'll probably sit down and talk to you guys just about, where you would say we sure need to avoid this area or that area of town.
Yeah, I know after next summer, there will only be one block in the city of Lake Preston that's not PVC.
Yeah, I know that. You guys have been spending money like drunk sailors.
But yeah, we'll probably have the final maps all done, I would say next fall, but we can get you, we have it all.
I think just get a working map, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be worrying about it till maybe February, March.
Yeah.
We can do something. I'll talk to you base about that. And then we'll just get a shape file. That's all I need. We'll lay it on top of our.
Should be able to get you water, sewer, and storm sewer.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Cause I like to have the information. So when I'm talking to you, I know exactly, where we should be not. I can tell basically just based on experience, but we want to just make sure we have a conversation. Our land use plan is not going to delve into a lot of information on water, so it's more about location and capacity and where these guys are going to direct us. So saying, well, if we go this way, we got to loop this or do that, or we should stay out of here because we're going to have to lift it or whatever. And that's what we want to have, that information at our fingertips. But you will get a new zoning map out of this with
You know, places that these people said that they're commercial like 50 years ago, like how.
50 years doesn't matter. 1996 and beyond is the only thing that matters.
On this map that's back here, you know, like there are one.
Well, that's what we would have zoned them in 1996. And then I got a map. I did a map in 2003. God, who was the finance officer? Janet.
Janet.
You know, and I know I gave it to Janet in 2003 because the city wanted to update it. At that time, we updated it to what we knew in 2003. Now, since 2003, I'm going to guess you've rezoned a bunch of properties. Maybe you haven't. If you haven't,
Not a ton,
I don't think so.
well, I'm going to give you the 2003 map. I'll send you that, and you're going to tell me we did this to R2 or this was R1 or C1 or HC or whatever. So you give me that so I can get that, the map guys making an updated map. And then all this information, once we have the new updated zoning and the land use maps, we're going to lay that on top of the county's GIS website. So when somebody comes into you and you can turn around and see, they say it's commercial and you say, well, no, this is our commercial area. I can see it right here. Your property is on this. And so you'll have that at your fingertips.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Well, there's one we discovered down here that Ellen and I were talking. We can just remember going in there when we were kids. That was commercial property then. That still was then and still is now R1.
And that's what, once we see what the zoning is, and we take a look at what the actual land use is on top of it, we're gonna find areas where we have nonconformities. And you're gonna then tell me, well, it makes more sense just to bring this into conformity. Sometimes you rezone things, or you zone things into what you want it to be someday, and it just never happens. And so you decide, well, do we still want to keep it zoned that way? But that means whoever's got it today, it's non-conforming. I can't get a building permit. God comes in, smites it out. You're SOL. You know, it is what it is. And so we'll have a long conversation just about how zoning interplays with the land use, and just from that. And again, you're going to have to just tell me what it is that you want to regulate and how hard you want to regulate it. And like I said, where I'm at with things, I'm trying to take more of a hands-off, laissez-faire kind of approach to some of this stuff anymore, and just try to make it where it makes common sense. There's some things that are going to be hell no's, and you got to keep them, just to keep the culture of the community together. But I know you got other things, and what time is it anyway?
10 after
Oh,
7.
I'm doing good. I got to be I'll have a meeting at 7:00 tomorrow morning in D. Smith, and so I wasn't going to drive back home because it sounds like it might get awful tomorrow. So I'm staying in D. Smith at the manor, but they said I had to be there by 8:00 to check in. So
Oh,
otherwise, I'd probably have to go stay at the Super 8. I don't know.
are we at the Oxbow in the morning?
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh,
So I'll
good.
see you then.
All right. Very good. Other questions or comments?
Is there a way after we do all this?
Yeah.
Can somebody come in and claim precedence since, well, before you did that, you did it this way?
That's never.
It can't,
Just
they can't do
because
it? or
just
they-
because my dad did something stupid doesn't mean I'm gonna have to do it. I probably will because I learned it from him. But you know, you don't use, the only time that you use precedence and is if you're wanting to change things, right?
Okay.
Now, Joe got a variance back in the day to build 5 feet closer to the property line because, you know, there wasn't a house next to him on that lot. Well, I want to come in. Well, I want to do that, but you got your house is 2 feet off the property line. Now I don't have 10 feet of space between the two buildings. I got fire risk issues and things like that. So we say, well, you let him do it. I'm going to say, no, it's a different situation.
Okay.
You know, so we're going to say no to that sort of a thing. Once we get all said and done too, we're going to develop a new administrative manual. So it's all there. You know, you can put that stuff out on your website so people have access to it. So it makes things a little easier. We even had sold the other day. We've got an actual online permitting system where people can just go online and make applications like you're buying something off of Amazon. That it's kind of a cool thing, and we'll show it to you if it's something that you're interested. It's a website fee that you'd have to pay on an annual basis, but if you're charging enough in building permits, it pays for itself. But that's something and the cool thing about that system, since I'm trying not to be a salesman, but if you come in, they go online, she sees it, and she wants to call us because I don't know what to do, I see it right away. I can see everything that's been submitted, and we don't have to. They'll email me this or email me that, and then okay, what did this guy do here? You know, there's things that can be helpful there. But anyway, anything else before I let you guys go? You guys got anything? Anything that you've been seeing in your years of being here in Lake Preston? Putting in?
No.
All right. Well, we'll probably lead on you for a little bit as we talk about things. Subdivision wise, do you guys help with the subdivision review at all? Do you guys, when somebody comes in with a plat, do you guys help review the subdivision plat at all?
Not currently, we haven't. I know we had put some recommendations together a while back.
Well, I know I remember the one time, last time I saw you a couple years ago, you know, on that development off the old airport property. My recommendation is going to be, we're probably going to talk about the subdivision regulations, and when we see new plats, my recommendation is going to be that you use your engineering services to at least look at, you know, where it's going, you know, whether or not the capacity's there, what has to be done if the developer has to put in new water and sewer lines, you know, because we're going to talk about that whole thing too. Who's responsible for putting in the water and the sewer in the streets? If so, what's the process for doing that? And, you know, do I have to do that first, or can I do that through a developer's agreement? All those types of things, and it's really going to be important that we have, you know, the buy-in from your engineering services, because and you build that into the price of approving the preliminary plan and the plat and all those types of things to cover their costs. And that's why it's important. So when somebody wants to develop 2 acres of ground on the edge of town, it's going to be done correctly, and you guys don't get a pig in a poke someday down the road when you accept some infrastructure that's not up to code, up to par. So we'll have a conversation about that too. But this is good. I'm excited about this. It's been a long time since I spent a lot of time in Preston, and it'd be good just to get to know all of you all and just have some nice conversations. So anything else? Last call. So we'll see you on the 12th at 5:30 in this building.
I got just one more question.
Yes, sir.
There's no ordinance right now. I'm on a commercial lot. I need to come in tomorrow and get a building permit for my container.
I would come in and make that container. You're gonna take that building permit. I think you're gonna say, I don't think I can issue that building permit container today without advice from the city council or the planning and zoning board, so you're aware of that. And then the city council or the zoning board would probably say, you know what, I think our recommendation is to hold the issuance of the building permit until we have a discussion on shipping containers. And we will probably have one of those, I would say by February, which will be here before we know it.
But in the meantime,
In the meantime, I would say unless somebody makes a formal complaint, your building permit will not be acted on. But if somebody wants to make a formal complaint and make a challenge to you having a thing there, that's gonna force your guys' hands to do something.
I would think you're okay for the time being.
I would
Yeah.
hopefully say no one's gonna do that.
where you say somebody, one, or is it gotta be?
I could come into town and I could say, hey, that thing's gotta go. But then what ends up happening is the city's gonna have to say, well, the person making the complaint, are they an aggrieved person? Because there's a whole thing in state law about being aggrieved. I live in Watertown. What the hell am I making a complaint for?
I know.
Right?
Be on the council when you come down.
Doesn't not joining the neighbors have a say on it though?
The neighbors, if the neighbors came in tomorrow and said, we want to swear out a formal complaint against this gentleman having a shipping container, we don't think it's a legal use. Reaction is gonna be is I have a building permit in front of the city. The city is weighing its options at this time, and the city doesn't have to take action on it unless the person who's pissed off about it hires an attorney and takes you on a mandamus proceeding to go to court. All of that stuff's not gonna happen until February anyway.
And wouldn't necessarily have to be a neighbor to complain either.
It had to be
Right.
somebody that's personally aggrieved by it.
Well, yeah, but it wouldn't necessarily have to be a neighbor.
No, it wouldn't have to be a neighbor, it could be anybody in town.
Yeah.
They can turn around and say, hey, city, enforce your ordinance, and the city's response is gonna be, we've accepted a building permit application, we're going to make the determination of whether or not that building is an accessory structure that's, customarily incidental. We're gonna have a conversation about that, and if they say, well, no, we want you to make up your minds right now, then I would say, well, then you need to sue us. And once they sue us, that might make that conversation happen faster. But until that happens, I would just play stall ball.
It is a good thing I got an attorney.
All right, well,
Hopefully you won't need it.
we're gonna have some fun conversations and I look forward to them. And everybody have a very, very Merry Christmas and we'll see you next month.
Hey, appreciate your comment.
Thank you. Yep, thank you much.
Very
Thank you. Thank you.
informational.
Yep, yep.
All right, are there public comments? And if there are, I brought it up last month, but come up to, the chair that Todd just vacated so that our viewers can hear you. Okay. Judging by the shaking of heads and zoning out, I will say that's no.
Thank you now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan.
Okay, I'll start with 2A. More of just an update on the Phase 2A project. All of the underground utilities are completed. All the water main on Park, Walters, the new loop line at the water tower site are also completed. As far as grading work, they were able to get Jan Mobley's grading work completed. They were not able to get it seeded prior to the ground freezing.
Which is fine, that was her request anyway, her preference, so it worked out.
Okay, good. So they need to seed that next spring. Brian's yard, they also need to get, and then the Park Avenue ditch. And so their intent is, as soon as spring rolls around, topsoil kind of dries out enough to get in and get the grading work done, they'll come in and touch those areas up and then get the seeding contractor in to get that done. So I guess any questions on 2A? Okay. Phase 2B, we will not have a pay request. I know Brenda struck it out on yours, Donna. So as far as a Phase 2B update, again, that project is basically wrapped up, I guess, for this year.
Sure.
They were able to they had some regrading work to do on the 4th Street drainage swale or drainage ditch on the south side of 4th Street. They got that done the week of Thanksgiving, I believe, correct? They also touched up 2nd Street between Fremont and Lake, the road that was kind of all beat up and broken up. So they came in and did removals. And then I don't know how much gravel they ended up putting down, 4 inches of gravel. So
Oh, good.
they got it touched up. Now, thankfully, the weather cooled down and it froze when it did. There may be the potential in the springtime that we might see a few soft spots here and there just due to the poor subgrade material. In talking with Rounds, they said if we see that, obviously they do have a couple employees that live in town, so maybe somebody would be able to come over and touch that up just to keep it passable through the spring until they get to the reconstruction of the roadway.
Okay.
So, questions on?
So is next year when you guys are gonna, or when that road's supposed to be done?
Yep. So
Okay.
we had sent a letter into the state requesting that block be added on to the Phase 2B contract. And there was also a couple other items that we're requesting to add on to the Phase 2B contract. We sent that letter in, it's like the first week of November is when we sent that letter. We haven't heard anything back from the state yet. My plan is this week to just send a follow-up email to them asking if they've had a chance to review it or if we need to sit down and have have a meeting to discuss it, but the intent would be that block on Second Street would get reconstructed next year while they're doing Lake Avenue. And that's when they'll also reconstruct 4th Street from Lake to Main. They'll come back in, strip the topsoil out, prep that road. That'll just be a gravel road. And then obviously we'll have the addition of the work in the northwest corner of town.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I want to move the TAP grant above the water tower. Is that okay?
I have no problem.
Okay. So TAP grant, just last week, we had landowner meetings with everybody along the project limits, basically the Highway 14 corridor. We were able to meet with all 13 landowners actually, which was really good to meet with everybody, talk through the project, talk through concerns. So now we're in the process of updating any plan sheets or any comments that any landowners had. There's a few along there that want to save some trees or some landscaping or some things like that they would like to not be disturbed during construction. So we'll update those plan sheets accordingly. Following the updates on the plan sheets, we will send out the temporary easement document along with those updated plan sheets, basically showing the resident that yes, you came in, we address your concerns, it's going to be in the plans. That will be for them to look at. Those will get mailed to all 13 landowners. I think what we're going to do as well is send all that information to Brenda in a PDF as well. That way, if a landowner would rather just stop in and sign the easement instead of signing it, mailing it back to Banner, we turn around and bring it back to the city for a city council meeting. If there are residents that would prefer to stop in just to City Hall and sign those temporary easements, then we can go that route too. So we'll get all that information to Brenda as well, so she would have that available for them to do that. Tentatively, we're planning for final design to be done here at the end of December. I'll go in for federal highway and DOT review in January, and then we're hoping to hit that bid letting date of February or March. It's pretty uncommon for the DOT to have any bid letting dates from probably next Monday till after the first of the year, just with the holidays. But we're going to try to push things forward and get it on their earliest bid letting date if we can. So I'm assuming they probably won't just let the TAP grant, considering it's, not small, it's $600,000, but they have, $10 million projects probably going on next year. So we'll see when that bid letting date is, and obviously let you guys know, but that is something that will be let through the DOT and not through Banner. So it doesn't go on our website like the previous city projects have. It'll go onto the DOTs. So guess any questions on the TAP grant? Okay. Water tower, just a quick update. So McGuire did meet substantial completion on November 10th. That substantial completion certificate should be in front of you guys tonight to review and sign. Currently, they are working on their punch list to meet final completion. And we met on site, and there is a few items left. They're hoping to get them addressed yet this week. And then we can kind of reevaluate if they've met the requirements of final completion or not. One thing that is going to potentially hold that up is there still is concrete work and asphalt work to be completed at the existing tower site. And we do have some options. I don't know if we necessarily need to discuss them right now, but we could issue a stop work order on the final completion date. Essentially, that would pause the final completion LDs and move that work into the spring of 26. And we could put us, the start work date would be, we'll just say May 1st for just discussion purposes right now. If the weather's good prior to May 1st, where they can get in and adequately rebuild the road, do the concrete work, then that's great. The days wouldn't start yet technically, but if it's not till May 1st, once May 1st rolls around, then that day count would continue. So that's an option. But as far as the substantial completion date, it was August 1st of 25. And like I said, they did meet the requirements of substantial completion on November 10th. So
do you have suggestions for us? Guidance?
I think as far as on our end, we would recommend the city moving forward with granting the substantial completion. The remaining items or any outstanding items, I think we would be able to move forward with that under the final completion. Contractually, I guess the tower is operational, it is functioning in its intended use, and they have completed all of the rework that was necessary to meeting the substantial completion.
Okay. So to clarify, by accepting the substantial completion, we are in no way forgiving the fact that it was November 10th and not August 1st.
Correct.
Okay.
Granting the substantial completion is just the city saying that you have met the requirements, all the process piping,
right,
bolts, nuts, washers are all stainless steel. There's no leaks. It's functioning in its intended use.
Okay.
So,
just in case anyone had any comments up there.
yes.
Thank you.
I can move into the pay request quick too, if that's
Okay,
fine. And then
yeah.
if you want to sign them both, you can. But so pay request 13 was submitted by McGuire. I'll try to explain this in the best way possible. They were requesting payment for $212,898.61. That's the amount due on this pay request. To date, from the substantial completion date of August 1st, they've accumulated 101 days of liquidated damages. Those 101 days of liquidated damages had an amount per day of $1,450. That brings the total LDs for the substantial completion date to $146,450. So what Banner is recommending, the amount due was the $212,898.61. The city will withhold that $146,450, and the payment amount to McGuire would be $66,448.61. And that amount will be withheld until a decision is made on how the city would like to move forward with the liquidated damages.
Okay.
Because do they still have any more money coming or?
Yeah,
For final.
there's still, so they had requested a reduction in retainage, which they are warranted once they reach substantial completion. However, the dollar value that's sitting there for potential LDs is significant. Therefore, reducing all that retainage, if the city wanted to assess the full amount of liquidated damages, there wouldn't be, it would be negative essentially.
Right.
And so the city, what they will receive from the state is the $212,000. The city will in turn hold that $146,000 in the account for right now, in the city's account, and only pay out the $66,000 until the LDs are resolved.
Sure. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we will be looking at substantial completion liquidated damages and final completion liquidated damages separately, which isn't a big deal. It's just how the timing worked. They reach substantial. So we'll have to discuss the substantial completion LDs. And then once they reach final completion, if there's any more that accumulate between either now or next year, then we'll have to discuss them once they reach final completion.
Okay. Okay.
I have a silly question.
Hmm?
Is there a warranty with the water tower?
Yep, there is. So the 1-year warranty period starts once they reach completion of the water tower. Now let's say,
Final completion or
I-
substantial?
Good question.
I would have to double check. I want to say it's once they reach substantial completion, that warranty period starts.
Okay.
Now, if there's, let's just say 11 months from now, because we'll do a warranty walkthrough. It's a 1-year warranty, but we typically do our walkthroughs at 11 months. That way, if there is any corrective work, it gives them a month to complete that within the warranty period. If there's an issue that's found, let's say for some reason the standpipe shows a leak again, McGuire would come back out and have to fix that as part of the warranty. And then from the date it's fixed, there's an additional 1 year on that item. Now it's not a 1 year additional on the whole project. It's specific to that one item. So yes, there is a warranty on this project. So
Considering how many issues they had. I had to ask.
yeah, and honestly, you know, we were out there today and there were a lot of setbacks. I won't call them unforeseen conditions or unforeseen issues, but there were a lot of things that could have been probably prevented. And so as far as the warranty goes and as far as what we've seen today, I mean, they did get in, they got the work corrected. We verified it's Brian and Doug are out there. Kingbrook's been out there. So there's been a lot of eyes on it, I guess, verifying that the work has been completed correctly.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Is there a motion for, we'll start with pay request 13. Well, maybe we should do substantial completion first. Is there a motion to approve substantial completion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Joe, second by Joel. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to do
Request
the
13.
pay request 13 at that retaining
66,000.
Yeah, 66,000.
is what they actually would receive, and the rest would be retained in an account.
Okay.
And I would second that as well.
Okay, motion by Joe, second by Joel. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay,
Anything else?
no. All right. Thank you.
Yes.
You are relieved.
Yeah. Minutes of November 10th. Anyone have any comments on those?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
I'll second.
Motion by Jeremy, second by Austin. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Did any committees meet? No. Oh, aren't you all lucky men? All right. Water, sewer, street. Brian.
Doug saying his usual amount.
So I have something from Doug, he called today.
Always does when he's not here.
So we all just wanted to thank you guys for our Christmas bonuses and our raises. We weren't expecting you guys to be so on top of it. Like, you guys were early this year.
We're trying to get better.
We won't let it happen again.
That was all.
No, that's all I had too. I really don't have anything else besides, I know some of these snowstorms are sneaking up on us, but we gotta make sure we are not parking on the street. I do not wanna, write tickets myself, and I don't wanna have to bug the sheriff's office, so. If everybody can just, move your vehicle if they think it's gonna snow, just in case, you never know what they're gonna forecast, so.
And it doesn't matter what they forecast, is what actually happens.
First couple, I always kind of just give it to them and let them be, but then, by next week, we know it's gonna snow every other day, it seems like, so.
You enjoy Albany, Alabama.
we would. But no, that's all I had. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So my election webinars have already started. So now that the state has changed all of this stuff, like petitions would normally be taken out the end of January, and then boom, the elections in April. Or like my notice of vacancy, I post in January. Now we've decided that I post my vacancy in December, and the election's not till June. So we're spreading things out a bit too. So, I've been talking with Echo from the county, and I talked to Christy Curd about us combining with all of them. And I mean, it's probably gonna be a touch and go situation, because it might end up being a S show, but we'll see how it goes. So the vacancies will be John, Austin, Jeremy, and then petitions can be picked up February 2nd and brought back by March 24th.
Wow.
I know, like they gave 2 months, almost, like a month and a half.
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Should be able to find it 2 nice days at least.
Right. So that's what's all happening with that. So I'm still in communication with Echo to figure out. So, and then my only other thing was, I mean, we'll probably talk about it. There's been coyotes in town and just making
Plural
sure.
or one?
Plural.
Plural.
Really? I saw the mangy thing, but there's others, huh?
So maybe just.
Going after chickens, or what are they going after?
Linda
know.
Martin ended up with a deceased raccoon partially eaten next to her house.
No, that's fine.
And I mean, just make everyone aware that they're out.
Hungry.
Yeah. Because it sounds like we had one resident that had 3 in her yard
3?
the other day. Yeah,
On the outskirts.
yeah, that person's on the outskirts.
GF&P's been notified, correct?
Yeah. They're not like bears,
Yeah.
They're just as curious as you are. I mean, they will, I don't know, very, very, very rarely attack.
They're just scroungy dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just scary for people that don't understand.
Probably more looking at risks for potential pets.
Mhm.
Yeah, my little micro dog.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I think that's all I had.
Thank you. Approval of claims. Was there anything remarkable in the claims?
I'll make a motion to approve claims.
I'll say.
Motion by Rick, second by Jeremy. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the financial report. Anyone have anything on that?
I don't know if you guys noticed, but I started adding a side column. Like, I was just curious how much surcharges we have built up. For all of our loans. It's like 700 and something. And now we're starting to pay on phase 2A, and then this coming year, we're gonna start paying on the water tower.
Oh.
So.
Okay, if there is no discussion, is there a motion to approve it?
I'll make motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Austin, second by Joel. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I would imagine no building permit we do have a nuisance property update though.
Yeah. So I just got this in the mail today.
Oh, I was referring to the Nest property.
Yeah, and the other
Oh,
one.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah.
But,
I don't know about exciting, but
because did you guys see this little note from a resident? Thank you all to the city workers for your hand in
Okay.
getting it cleaned up. Okay, so here's the updated list. Okay, so those properties that we wanted him to do detailed things, he went around and just took pictures and wrote notes. So if you guys wanna look at these, don't mix them up.
Maybe we should do one at a time.
Okay.
I mean, we'll be able to figure out which property is which, I guess,
Like, Joe, you just take from the pile.
okay.
as we pass along.
I'm not so concerned about that one. I mean, I am.
And then,
It's kind of self-explanatory. Okay.
You said it was one building permit?
there's what?
Was there a building permit or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
No, tomorrow. All right, the proof of loss. Will they,
Anything that you want. you can know.
yeah, that's quite a while ago, right?
No.
Okay.
I just put it there, so if you want to read it.
Oh, yeah, I can read it. Regarding, remember we had questions about the park vandalism and depreciation, and it was a depreciation. So Brenda emailed and Tim has reached out about park vandalism, below is the explanation, and she's saying, figured it was easier to view it in email form. Right, so with the proof of loss, we are paying the ACV less the deductible. Thank you. We then move forward with replacement and dry ice blasting. Once done, then submit those invoices and they can review. And then the depreciation is eligible for holdback payments. So that's right.
We still have
Oh,
somewhere in there.
oh, it was more than just that. Okay. The sworn statement and proof. All right. Amount of certificate at time of loss is,
Are we all very fast?
that's 5 million. That's 5 million.
Take it.
All right, yeah.
You wanna pay us out for that, then, Billy? Including 5 storm filters back.
Take some pictures.
Maybe, I don't know. I want you to go with the amount claimed. A vandalism loss occurred on the 18th of April, 2025. Cause and origin of said loss were vandalism. Park restroom, playground equipment. The total insurance. All right, So the total insurance, the amount of the benefits upon the property described by this certificate at the time of loss, $5,692,510, as more particularly specified in the portion attached, besides which there was no policy or other contract of insurance written or oral, valid or invalid. So the value, the actual cash value of said property at time of loss is a line through it. The whole loss and damage was $21,143.90. The amount claimed under the above numbered certificate is $13,339.59. All right, so if you guys are okay with me signing that statement in proof of loss, then, like I said, the explanation was that we can then move forward with the replacement and dry ice blasting and then submit those invoices. So what have you got for discussion on that?
How long ago did we turn in the ambulance door? I think we already got paid for it.
Yeah, well, I think
Like,
this,
I'm just saying that this
This is dragging out a
is
bit.
dragging on a long time.
well, yeah, well, part of it is because we were trying to go the legal route, not insurance, like,
Right.
so it's not that it's been since April.
Paying out.
Yeah, and then we had that question about the value difference, but then this is his explanation, so. So, any other discussion? Or is there a motion to approve the proof of loss?
Oh, just to get it out of here, I'll make a motion.
And then should I like question him when I scan that of the 5
million? Yeah, that, I don't know if that's maybe for like
Whole
the
park.
That's what I
park,
would guess.
the
the whole
pool.
park.
Yes,
I'm,
that's the blanket.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Thanks
All
for
right.
not leaving me stranded.
Motion by Joel, second by Austin. Any other discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, new business, 2026 contract law.
So they failed to have our yearly meeting.
We failed to have quarterly meetings.
Yeah, that's not happening either now.
Well, we also had some off the cuff discussions and if we even need it. Do we?
I don't know if they have to be quarterly, but I think we
Not the
got-
meetings, the contract.
Oh, that.
I mean, what do they really do for us?
Well, yeah,
It's just a question.
sure, yeah, no. Any comments?
What does that contract cost? Like a total?
2,080 a month. So they're getting paid 32 hours, or $32 an hour, because we do 15.
So about 24 grand a year, somewhere around there. And what do we get for that money? Do we get any benefit out of it? Do they
There's not even-
do drug busts in town or?
There was that one. So they do put in, the monthly, in the bills. We do get a monthly report that says how many
like what
warnings
they've done.
and tickets are issued.
Mhm.
And as part of that, those meetings that we started having and made it to 2 and then it fell away.
And
But there were some good changes that came about from those meetings as far as more information in the reports. And then the decision that by each season, city council will identify certain ordinances that we want them to.
Well, I also thought a deputy was gonna show up so we could have those discussions too, but
Oh, yeah, I guess I don't remember that, but
Yeah,
it might not have hurt. But yeah, so those are some of the changes that have come about from those meetings. As far as some of the other things we requested that didn't happen was, again, was it maybe,
would the money be better spent elsewhere, I guess is my question.
I'm not going to say, yeah, it's definitely questions to be asked. Like one thing that we asked, I think it was probably 3 years ago when we took that on pretty heavily
Mhm.
and looked at options. We had requested, because sometime if you want to find a cop in town, you can be pretty sure where to go look as far as
Mhm.
what part of town you're going to find them parked. So we'd ask, maybe odometer readings to know that they're actually patrolling as opposed to spending 2 hours, but that hasn't happened. Doesn't mean that it won't be coming. But yeah, you're asking a question that got asked a few years ago.
Yeah, and I'm just bringing it up again, and I don't really have an interest in it one way or the other. I'm just kind of asking the question, just to get it out there.
Sure, yeah.
Will the community get the same service without that contract?
Well, I mean, if somebody breaks into your house, you call 911, I'm pretty sure they're still gonna come.
Right, yeah, they still have to respond to 911. Now, we were told that maybe they wouldn't, like minor issues, like maybe nuisance complaints, noise complaints, things like that, wouldn't get quick
Wouldn't be-
attention.
Wouldn't be at the
necessarily.
top of their list.
Right, and understandably so,
Sure,
and still
sure.
aren't.
Sure.
So we definitely need to prioritize. But yeah,
Well,
Do we know like a revenue that have come in from tickets we've got like in the last 5
that's
years?
a good
Don't
question.
get any,
None?
most of the
because they'll
tickets
write
are,
them on the highway. 'cause it's-
yeah.
It's like very, very little. Like, I think I got some money from the clerk of courts.
So the benefit is monetary, but is there another benefit that isn't monetary that we're not looking at? Just their presence?
Like, most of it is on the highway. And we don't get any of that.
No,
That goes to the state, I suppose. Say that way.
well, no.
And like one of them was a situation in the park driveway area, and I got $16.
Hmm.
So of the fine that person got or whatever, we get $16 of that or whatever.
So we paid for 30 minutes of 1 hour. Which, I mean, it's not about making the city revenue, obviously.
No,
but-
obviously not.
People are paying this, everybody's paying this. So I just wondering what their benefit, of paying that.
What are we getting for our money?
Yeah,
One of
26,000.
those things where it may be really hard to identify exactly.
Well, that's true too. I mean, just the fact that their
I mean,
presences around
you
has
could think of
got
their-
some value.
You could think of their presence as an insurance policy almost in a sense,
Of course.
You're not gonna get a ton of money back out of the insurance, but
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right, yeah, 'cause I'm sure there's something to be said of peace of mind maybe for the residents.
But I mean, yeah, everybody knows that there's 2 in town.
Right,
Mm.
So if they call 911, there's 2 in town.
Mhm.
yeah,
And I know especially if they're in town and stuff, they're really good at helping the ambulance and fire department and
Yep.
stuff that way as far as responding and stuff lately.
Wouldn't
Well, I
they-
mean,
wouldn't
they
they
have
still
all
do
along,
that
but-
though?
What?
Wouldn't they still do that though?
Well, it depends upon if they happen to be in town or not.
Yeah.
But sometimes they are in town and it's faster to respond.
Mhm.
They're still county, there's still county employees and county.
Bear in mind, I'm just playing devil's
Yeah.
advocate.
Yeah. Which, that's just a nice thing they do, because they don't have to show up to help us lift patients and stuff like that, you know.
Well, then like for
They
say,
could
if,
stop and do traffic control if it was an issue, but
if also for say, you know, if the city dropped out completely, you know, the deputies are, I don't want to say spaced in order so that there's one in Arlington, there's 3 in D. Smith or 2 in D. Smith and 2 in Lake Preston. But I mean, let's say Arlington stopped paying, well then this county wouldn't make the next deputy live over in Arlington, you know? It's kind of the thing, you know? They wouldn't have to. Maybe they would make them, you know? But
Yeah, maybe for the response times.
yeah,
It makes sense to spread them out. Yeah, I mean,
Well, I kind of shortcut what you were getting at with the whole deal that you brought up with contract law. What were you trying to say with that when you brought up contract law?
When's that-
That's on
when's
the
that
agenda.
contract End, is that end of year?
this is for
Yeah.
2026.
I don't know
Oh,
if it's
okay.
because the state's attorney changed, because you know there was a change in the middle of the year.
Hmm.
And I had emailed twice. And I guess I should have just attached Echo immediately. And so then this last time I attached her and then she got it done. So
Who's Echo?
she's
One of
the
the-
auditor.
County
courthouse.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
Like at the commission meeting.
Oh, sure. I remember now.
And
I don't know how I could forget that name.
Yeah, it's a really unique one.
It is.
So getting back to the folders, for the code enforcement.
Yeah,
So am I still doing the whole thing of like sending all of it to Todd and he's writing a letter, or what is the thing? I just had it done again,
yeah.
and like all of that stuff can be sent with, so that they can actually see what needs to change come spring.
So, you
That
mean
goes-
as far as copies made?
Yeah, that goes
Yeah,
in
he
here.
sent, he sent me the documents.
Okay. Yeah,
I guess I'm in favor of the line in the sand approach, and if you go beyond that line, then you go to court.
Right, like we're still doing the August.
yeah,
That's my personal preference. I don't know if anybody agrees with that. but-
right. So ask Todd to send out a letter to property owners along with copies of that new documentation. So they have a little more guidance.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then, yeah, as far as contract, so, yeah. So,
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail your contract
So
law
they sent me
discussion.
the agreement,
yeah,
and it's basically the same as last year. They didn't up it or like.
Okay.
Unless we want to do something with the hours, but it has 15 in there.
We get 15 hours a week.
Sounds kind of silly, but I feel strongly both ways.
I know how you feel. I know
I just-
exactly what you're talking
You know,
about.
we've heard from the community on it, you know, that's what they're, a lot of them ask, what comes back from it, but other than the presence is the nice thing, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion. I'll please be the devil, make a motion, we continue on.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay.
fine, I'll second.
Oh,
No,
Rick
you
did.
already
Oh, you
did.
did? I'm sorry, I didn't
No.
hear you.
No, sorry.
Sometimes it's one of those things where you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Well, that's very
Then it
true.
might be too late.
You know.
Well,
And then if
in-
they
It's kinda like an
reduce
insurance
the
policy.
staff by one, then it's gonna be hard to, now we want back in.
It's not a huge
Ramp it
pile of
back
money
up,
either,
and
in the grand scheme of things.
So, yeah.
So motion by Joe, second by Rick. Any other discussion?
So does their contract say that they meet with us and stuff? Is that part of the contract?
Does it say what? Sorry.
The contract, does that have meeting with us in, or is that just something
Like
you guys have?
quarterly or something?
No,
Until we have a yearly meeting, that's
Right.
usually always in July.
Okay.
But because of all of this, I think it's because, you know, Todd is the deputy state's attorney, and so his front desk gal sent out an email already scheduling the 2026 meeting.
So it's just an annual meeting for it. It's not,
Right,
the-
but as
when-
far as those quarterly ones or whatever, I have.
that's not a contract thing. That was just something you guys asked. Okay.
But I mean, that's something if we wanted to request it, like ambulance, fire department, library and stuff.
And I think it
If
was
they
just
wanted to
kind
stop
of geared
in
to, what do
quarterly.
we want to enforce this quarter? Like ticketing
Well,
cars for snow
yeah.
removal or,
Like I said, that was a byproduct of that really serious discussion that was had like 3 years ago when.
but nothing really came out of it.
When they're trying to get people to get money back or reduce.
Oh, that was
stuff,
different.
and
That was about, that was something different.
Okay.
Yeah, at the same time though.
I
So
think-
yeah, it was.
I think we're just trying to stay in communication with them so we could work together.
Right, yeah, yeah. I don't think it would be a waste of our time to request that we,
Not at all.
quarterly meetings are a little ridiculous, and they meet in the middle of the cotton picking day, but
No, I mean, even if we just had Steve or one of the deputies stop in,
Yeah,
meet with us.
I think that's all we need to
as
do.
One
Yeah.
of the contract holders, not that they've got to meet everybody.
yeah,
type thing.
no.
Yeah.
I don't
Well, I agree
think
with
they'd be
that.
opposed to
It might be as easy as you guys saying that, hey, we want this, this, and this to be
Mhm.
dealt with. And then I email Shelley the ordinances.
They're never gonna do it unless we
That's
do
the problem
something.
We had before, is we had stuff filed or to be served and it wasn't.
Yeah,
Done.
back in that
That was one, when
situation.
we questioned it last time, like, which should we, because we
Yeah,
called them to have some people served and it just never happens.
yeah,
And like the last 2 times that I've had them go somewhere, I ask them for a copy now. Just to make sure that they go,
sure.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like this last one, I think there was a complaint sheet somewhere on the, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, sure. Yeah. All right, so any other discussion? Okay,
Good.
all in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, utility bill write-offs.
Does this follow along the old line of we can't get blood out of a turnip type thing, or?
well, I think unless you're gonna dig up the grave, you're not gonna get any money.
Yeah. Yeah,
Unless they have the state.
Well, we know the one there isn't any.
okay. So account 103.00 in the amount of $728.76. And then we have account 249 in the amount of $333.57. So,
Both of these
They're
are
both
deceased.
yeah, they both.
And there's no filing with the state.
like years,
Okay, so it's probably used up whatever they.
probably.
Yeah.
So moved.
I'll second
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Right.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We did change that to 120 days, right? Accounts past due 120 days return into collections.
Right, I thought we had said 90, but.
Is it 90? I couldn't remember what we said. 90. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, because the longer it goes, the harder.
Well, just
Yeah.
don't pay your bill. You'll find out.
Find out.
Yeah.
It's automatic, so I don't forget.
Transfer authority from contingency. Oh, you can have this back. Oh, thank you. All right, transfer $5,707.37 from contingency to insurance and bonds. Account 414.6. Transfer $7,755.56 from contingency to auditing. Account 414.7, and transfer $248.38 from contingency to sanitation. Account 432.4, and transfer $1,860.56 from contingency to the pool, account 451.2, totaling $15,571.87.
So moved.
And this is money that was over or under budgeted.
Yeah, like our audit was a lot more this
Right.
year
Yeah, you
because
just
of
don't know
Okay.
yet.
the water stuff.
Okay, this is kind of just to true up the
Yep,
accounts.
Accounts for the end of the year. Yep.
Okay,
Sounds good.
gotcha.
I'll second.
No, you got it.
I'll second.
Remind me of the first.
I did.
Thank you. Motion by Joe, second by Jeremy. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
John.
For a second, I thought there was an echo there.
Yeah, had the same reaction.
First reading of the supplemental appropriation ordinance.
Okay, so let me quickly have to change it because I forgot that I used contingency.
Okay. Go.
That's pretty serious look.
Well, there's a lot of scratches.
Follow along, Donna, follow along.
Ordinance 471, TAC 25, an ordinance amending appropriation ordinance 466, TAC 24, and providing for supplemental budget and adjusting appropriations of the city of Lake Preston for the year 2025. Be it ordained by the city of Lake Preston, Kingsburg County, South Dakota as follows. Section 1, it is hereby deemed necessary and there is hereby appropriated the following sums to meet the obligation of the city of Lake Preston, South Dakota. From general fund,
I would just do the totals.
yeah.
80,
Okay, under the line, gotcha. I'm just, which one for each one? Got it now. Total appropriation from general fund, $81,143. The source funding is the undesignated fund balance in the amount of $81,143. TIF fund, $30,826 from, also from undesignated fund balance, $30,826. Water fund, total appropriations, $1,718,520. Source of funding, undesignated loan grant fund balance in the amount of $1,718,520. Sewer fund, total appropriations, $1,110,345. Source of funding, undesignated loan fund balance in the same amount. Ambulance fund, $15,600 in total appropriations. Total funding from undesignated donations, $15,600.
Not too bad till those two.
Yeah, yeah,
until we don't have projects.
yeah. So only 30 more of these to go.
Well, for some of you.
I'm glad I don't have
None
to
of us,
read all
who
that
knows?
stuff.
Don't really feel short, John.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
John seconded.
He finally made the stat book. John?
Good job, John.
All right. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can now.
All right. So you want roll call vote on this, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. John? Okay. Joe?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Austin?
Yep.
Rick?
Yep.
Okay. All ayes, motion carries. Baseball coach 2026. We have our application as expected.
Look out
so-
again.
Oh, sorry.
Name is Brew Racer.
Is a motion to approve Or does someone want to go into an executive, and if not, is there a motion to approve that application?
I'll make the motion.
I was gonna say, we'll let it get around. Jump the gun.
I think it was in the,
Is it an email?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
okay, least likely to have read the email. but- Okay, I have a motion by Austin,
I'll second.
second by Joel. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Whew. Employee concerns.
Doug?
Good. I'm good.
Thanks.
I think I'm good.
Okay. John, do you have employee or council concerns? Okay. Joe,
No, just the shipping container deal.
oh, yeah,
But you can talk on that in executive, I guess.
okay.
I think the subject was brought up this last month about campground use in the wintertime.
Oh, Brenda had her conversation.
Oh, okay.
And they politely declined, but apparently have experience with this, so.
Well, I guess my point was more, do we want to just shut it down in the wintertime and not have that bathhouse open and shut off the heat and shut off the water and
We had the bathhouse open. It wasn't anything to do with them.
No,
No.
it was closed and then, probably 3 years ago, we bought a heater, put in there. It wasn't enough, so we bought a second heater. And then last 2 years or last year, I think it was, it ran flawlessly.
Yeah.
which that isn't insulated at all and I mean, it's costing us money to heat the thing and I'm wondering why we're doing it.
Yep, it does cost money.
But like last year, we had it running all winter.
Yep.
We didn't even have campers there.
And so we just have it advertised that way, so we can't really kick them out now when we.
Oh, no, I'm not saying we kick them out. I'm just wondering if we shouldn't
Like
address
next year.
that issue for the future.
I know. like-
Yeah, not for now.
But let me ask you this. Jivo aside, just say, in 5 years, we have 8 guys that want to stay there all winter. That's a month at a crack, it's $400 a site.
Mhm.
That's some pretty.
And they're spending money here in town.
That would,
You know what I mean?
that would,
I hate
that
to
would,
go and set a rule and then turn around and go back on that.
Right.
Well, we can always change it if that does happen.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
shelter if somebody needs it. Right now, if it's heated, you know, if somebody.
well, you could still
I mean, don't
have the
get me
shelter,
wrong.
just not heated.
Don't get me wrong, I'm with you.
Yeah, I agree. I
Well,
know.
it just seems like you're pouring money down
Yeah.
there.
And then now, it's not a big deal. It did get brought up the other day about, are you gonna move my snow? Or, politely,
Mhm.
move my snow, or do we need to buy a shovel? And I'm just like, well, that's one more thing that you gotta go and do. And I told him, I said, you're gonna be the least of my worries. And the last thing I'm gonna do is that.
Well, and that brings up, since his wife is, ailing, is that a liability on the city or? So, there are some issues here that we probably should think about at some point. Not for these folks necessarily, but it might just be some clever wording and addressing a different ordinance for that.
Yeah.
One other consideration is if we're concerned about the dollars for heating, then we should consider the pool because we lose way more money on the pool.
Well,
We
that
do a
or
little
add
bit
some
of
insulation
electricity.
to the building.
Yeah,
That'd
it's
be
just one
another
of the
option.
things, I mean, it's a nice that our community offers that to somebody that wants to have that option,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of,
People really use that much in the wintertime? Because
I'm
most
not
of them
saying,
I
yeah.
go see in the wintertime are locked up tighter than the drum.
Yeah, like I said, I'm with you, but I do have to say, I've had more people, engineers, contractors, even now, guys working on the cell towers, they're there, they've been there for 2 weeks, they have a place to go and
That's
warm
true.
up and go to the
That's a
bathroom.
good point. That's a good point.
UPS, I've seen UPS and FedEx drivers go there. They know now that it's kind of catching trash. I don't know. Right around or in between, it's.
I feel you.
Well,
Yeah.
something like that, the city of DeSmit has public bathrooms on their main street. City of Howard has public bathrooms on their main street. Like that's, I guess.
Public
That's kind of our version of it.
offering our-
Mhm.
Well, okay, all right.
Because right now we just allow law enforcement to use the ambulance
Mhm.
building if they need to use bathrooms.
What would it take, right now, there's no insulation in that building, is there?
I think it's just there, it's brick, it's concrete, rebar brick, I think.
Is there any way to maybe improve that situation at
Have you
all?
gone in there,
You know, so
It's been, yeah, no, I've been in there.
like this week?
No.
It's hot in there. It's holding, I mean,
Well, I'm just trying to think of keeping the bill down so it's manageable.
I agree.
Well, I don't know, just a thought. Anyway, there's my 2 cents.
If we could do it all over again, in a, I'm just gonna say $1 million building,
Ah, yeah.
you might as well put floor heat in,
Mhm.
Mm.
and now this would be resolved.
Yeah,
It's a lot more efficient.
it's water behind the bridge now, or under the bridge, we just move forward. and
All right.
I think it's a great thing to have open. It is an
Well,
expensive.
in that respect, for, people kind of coming in for like what you said, it's kind of nice to have a public restroom available.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everything else we
Okay.
have is locked up.
Yeah, well, that's just it, we can do a winter rate.
Mm.
'Cause it costs.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Summer, if we did a summer set months of this to this at $400, and in the winter it's $550.
I mean, they even said during my 2-hour talk with them that if the bill got too high, they would be willing to pay more. So.
So they must like our.
Amenities.
Oh,
community.
Yeah.
You should have heard them talk about our park. Like, they love our park.
It's a nice park,
Yeah.
right?
And that word travels fast, and there's a lot of people come use it in the summertime
Mm-hmm.
because it is a nice setup. So
Yeah, I think that would be
Okay.
something to consider.
The winter price.
Winter
Mhm. Yeah,
versus-
yeah, that will kind of offset anything.
Seasonally.
I guess I don't think, like if we're 400, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't do 550 or 600 for the
Right.
And as far as plowing goes, I think there's probably some responsibility there to at least make a path for them so that if they needed
I
to
get
get out.
as close as I can. As close as I felt comfortable anyway, but then I brought the skid loader down today and just cleaned it up for them, which I don't have a problem with. It just. When I have a busy day
I met
like
her.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
gonna be your
yeah,
first thing you're
yeah.
No,
doing.
and it's a busy day like today where I know I had appointments lined up to do this, do that, meet this guy, have a meeting this time, and I had to jump in the middle and try to hurry, run down and do it. And, it's kind of a pain.
Mhm, it is. But I don't know that you need to do any more for them than any homeowner's gonna have to shovel on his driveway. It's just that his street would be nice, that's all I'm thinking of.
Anything else, Joel?
That's it.
Nope, I think I encouraged people to be kind to Brenda last month, so I think I'm good.
Nice, Brenda.
Yeah. End of year meeting will be December 29th. You have question mark, does that mean you're wondering about the time?
Yeah.
Okay,
6 or 7.
What is it?
not even funny.
Is it like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, did it?
Just do what you did last year. Is it 6 or 7?
6:30?
6.
Yeah, 6 is fine.
5?
6.
So,
Okay, so like,
I wrote 6.
Send a reminder.
I wrote 6. That's what I'm going with.
are any of you working out of town and 6 doesn't work?
just
There's a
me.
chance. I might out of town probably, but I don't
Oh.
know. It's debatable.
Yeah, I may have a conflict, I'm not sure.
You have a conflict with 6 or the date?
the date. I have to check with my other boss.
No, you like call in too.
Yeah, call someone else since Ron's got mine.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't take very long. It looks like it will talk about street paving rollover funds and
end
the
of
final
year
bills, yeah. So,
Sounds good. 6 o'clock it is.
yeah, and then the next regular meeting, January 12th at 5?
No,
I think you're gonna do it at 7.
Seven.
He'll be here at 5:30.
Yeah. 5:30. Okay, and then it sounds like
Yeah,
someone's looking for executive session for legal.
yeah, I won't be here for the 29th.
Okay. All right,
8:24.
thank you. We're 8:24 in executive. Jeremy, do you mind pushing that blue button?